Hey guys, welcome to Happiest Travel. I am Sam, and today is a little bit different because I am teaching you an activity. So let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, welcome. I am Sam, and I am a travel agent with my own agency called Happiest Travel, if you are not familiar with my channel. But today I am marrying my love of cookie decorating and Disney. We're going to smash them together because I just can't pick one. And we're going to show you how to decorate some cookies. So you can find the kit in the description. I will link it below, and you can check that out, and it comes with a couple of different options. So I'll show you when we get into it, and you'll also be able to see it on my shop, so feel free to look around there. And also don't forget to subscribe here on my YouTube channel, because most of the time I'm talking about planning Disney trips, the best packing that I've found, like all kinds of tips and tricks for your trip. So make sure that you subscribe and you turn on your notifications so that you will be able to know when I post another video. So anyways, like I've said, I am teaching you cookie decorating today. So let's get into it. Okay, we are back, and really quickly I want to show you what comes in the kit. So paper towel doesn't. You will need your own paper towels. Okay, so depending on which one you get, you will either have 6 or 12 of these balloon cookies, which I'm too zoomed in. Let's hold on. Ooh, this is difficult. There we go. I'm gonna get this. Oh, well, okay. So 6 of these, you can see they are a good size cookie. Okay, so you get either 6 or 12, depending on which kit you get. And then if you get the 6 cookie kit, you'll have 3 bags of icing, and it will either be red, yellow, and white, or these bright pink, orange, and blue. And then also you will get some sprinkles, 3 sprinkles per pack. And sprinkles will vary because sometimes I just see sprinkles and I think, oh wow, those are perfect. So, you know what? Sometimes they look different, but there'll always be plenty of sprinkles. And then also, you will find some toothpicks in your kit. If you get the 12 cookie kit, you will get all of the colors, all 6 colors of icing, and you'll get 6 packs of sprinkles. I like this because you have these classic Mickey colors over here, and then you also have the super bright tropical-ish colors here. So let's get started. Oh, and also, maybe the most important decorating-ish thing you get in your kit is this icing guide, which I have it zoomed in so you can't see the whole page, but here it is. It's right here. Okay, so what this is this is how you're going to learn the basics of cookie decorating, so you're not wasting your cookies learning the very basic techniques. So I have a piece of parchment paper here. You can use wax paper or a page protector. Slide it in, and then you can reuse the sheet. If you're not planning on reusing the sheet, then you can just do it straight on top. It's, whatever your preference is. but I had some parchment paper, so we went with that. Okay. So let's get into it. So first you'll see this icing bag cutting guide, because you do not want to cut your bags open too much. It will cause a giant mess and you will be sad. So what I have done is provided you this little diagram here, or I'm going to show you just straight up how to do it. Okay, so when you look at your bag, you'll see that there's a seam. And I like to make sure my seam is pointed up, because if you cut it where the seam is at the side, it doesn't give you like a straight cut. So it's much cleaner to do it with the tip up. So you just want to flatten it out to where the seam here is facing up. And then what you can do if you're brand new to cookie decorating and you really just have no idea, is you can line up your bag to the edge, and this is a great start. Now, this is just a great start. It's preference, and we'll get into that. I will show you a live demo. So I have my little scissors here, and I like to flatten the tip. And then this is difficult to do looking, but anyways. So we just snipped off the very tip of the bag. You don't want a big hole because it's going to be very messy when you go to decorate. Now, if this hole isn't big enough, you can just keep barely slicing off the edge until you get the right amount for you. Okay, I'm going to open a different color because you're probably not going to be able to see the black or the white on the page very well. So let's do orange. So I am flattening the tip, and I'm going to snip off the edge just like so. And then I'm going to test that out and see if it is a good size for me. So what you want to do what you want to do first is, I have little hands, and so I can't hold this entire bag of icing just like this. It's not going to work for me. So what I like to do is, always have a paper towel on hand because icing will be everywhere. I like to go about, let's see, what do you think, 3 inches up or so? And then pinch my thumb and pointer together. Now I'm going to take my other hand and twist it around so it's nice and tight. And then I like to clean the tip of the bag off so that it's not dripping out. So it's nice and snug in my hand, and this is a really good place for me to hold it. Now you'll learn what's best for you once you kind of start getting the hang of it. So we're going to start with this square, and I'm going to zoom back in. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is, you're going to start on a corner, and you're going to let your icing drop down. Now you're going to hover the bag over. Drop down at the edge, hover, drop down, hover, and I'm really not giving the bag very much pressure. It's coming out on its own because it's so full. You'll figure out the right pressure for you. But every time you hit a corner, you want to tap the bag down and make sure it touches, so it's going to make that clean corner. If you don't, it's kind of a rounded. See the difference right there? See, this corner is rounded here, and this corner is nice and crisp. So we're just going to finish off with this tiny little square there. Okay? So there you go. There's your square. And we're going to use this principle whenever we outline a cookie. Okay? Now for a circle, same idea. Of course, there's not going to be a corner for us to touch down. So you're going to start in one place. Let your icing bag hover. You don't want to like rub your bag on your paper because you're not going to get that pretty outline. I'll show you. So there you go. Now if you were to rub your bag on the surface, it looks like this. You see how my icing is inconsistently coming out? We don't want that. We want to keep it consistent, so we let the bag hover and we give it just very gentle pressure. And then touch back down at the edge. See the difference between these? Okay. So, when we have a combo of a rounded, a rounded shape and a point, we'll practice this. So we'll touch down, hover over, swoop it up, point, swoop it back down, and touch again. So the only time my bag touches my cookie or paper is right there at that point, so I can change directions. So go ahead and practice that a few times if you would like. And we are going to move on to dots. So you may think for a dot you're going to draw a circle and then fill it in, but that's really not the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is to turn your bag up to where it's flat with the, not flat, what is the word? Perpendicular? I don't know, parallel? I don't know the difference. Anyway, straight up and down, and then you're going to give your bag pressure, and you're going to see that it makes a little dot. And you just kind of give it a swirl at the end to break off the end of your icing. So down, pressure, swirl, up, just like so. So practice some more dots there. And then we will come down to teardrops. So teardrops are really nice shapes to have, because then you can join them and make hearts, and we'll talk about that in a second. So all you do is press down, swirl it just like you would for a dot, and then you're going to give it a tail. So dot, press out into a tail, just like that. Dot, press out. And then if we come down here to a heart, all that is two of those put together. So you dot, press out, dot, press out, and then you can swirl your bag around to get the desired shape of your heart. Just like so. Okay, one last thing to talk about. Let's talk about bows. So obviously we're probably going to have some bows that we want to make for our favorites, Daisy and Minnie. So all you're going to do is we're going to be combining these elements here to make a bow. So first we're going to make two sideways hearts. So press, flip out, press, flip out, and make your desired heart shape, just like so. And now we're going to come over to the other side and do the same thing. Now we're going to give this a minute to let it set up so that when we put our dot in the middle, it will be a separate dimensional dot instead of just a blob in the middle of our two hearts. And this is called crusting. And we'll talk a lot about crusting when we're decorating our cookies. So when I say like, let this crust, this is what I'm saying right here. We want to make sure that the top layer of our icing isn't wet or our design is going to kind of just seep into that. That's called wet on wet. When you put two wet colors or designs together, that's called wet on wet because it's just going to flatten down and become smooth, one kind of plane. If we let this crust for, say, 5 minutes, it doesn't take that long for something this small. But that's called, crusting, and then adding another design on top of that to give it a three-dimensional effect. So you can just tap it and see if it's still wet, and this is still, it's tacky. And we want it to be fairly dry before we go in and put our dot, or it will just kind of run together. So we can come down here and do some swoops while we wait another minute. So you can see down here just some swoopies to kind of practice how you like to hold the bag and how to maneuver around. So we're going to start here at the point, drop down, hover, swoop around, swoop around, swoop around. And it seems scary to just let your icing fall out of the bag, but I promise it's the best way to maneuver the bag around. It's the cleanest way. It's the best way to do some swoopies. That way it's good practice for that. So we're going to come back up here and see if this is crusted. Yeah, good enough for our little practice sheet. So we're just going to come here and put a dot. And now we have a cute little bow. There we go. Cute little bow here. Okay, now that we have those basics down, you can pause here and keep practicing if you would like. Or we can get into the fun stuff. I'm just going to toss this. And then I still have the sheet that I can use again. Move that over to the side. Okay, so here I have my paper towel. Focus. There we go. Okay, so we have our paper towel here. And we're going to take our first cookie and I'm trying to do this backwards, and it's really difficult. Okay, so first, let's see. I want to talk to you about some tools. So you have your toothpick. And you might be thinking, why do I need a toothpick? Well, in the cookie decorating world, it's called a scribe tool. This is my scribe tool. It's a lightsaber. And it has this pointy tip on the end. If you're interested in, cookie decorating and you want one of these, just let me know. I make them. I can make one for you. But anyways, I love this because I can't hold on to something really small for very long because I had some carpal tunnel in my wrist. So this is easier for me to hold on to. These are fine if you're just doing this as just like a fun little thing. But I'm going to be using my scribe tool. But know when I use my scribe tool, you can use a toothpick for the same exact use. So let's talk about outlining and flooding. So outlining is, just how it sounds, outlining. You're going to make an outline of icing on your cookie all the way around. And that's going to hold your fill icing in. So for this first one, we're just going to make it a solid fill cookie. So we're going to start our icing wherever we would like. I'm going to start it right here in this little area. This is going to be my taking off point, and then I'm going to go around this way. I always go clockwise, but that's just my preference, and it might be because I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to do it that way. And I am filming this backwards, so it might look counterclockwise to you, I'm not sure. But from where I'm sitting, it is clockwise. So my preference is to give a little bit of space in between the edge of the cookie and my outline. Some people like to go all the way to the edge, but it's a lot easier for your icing to just fall off the side and look not as clean. So I like to give it a little bit of a border. So let's go. We're going to touch down and we're going to hover all the way around our cookie, giving it, I don't know, what is that, like a millimeter maybe of space. Now we're going to change direction, so we're going to touch down again. Touch down, hover, touch down again. You might be like, wow, this is slow, but slow and steady makes a pretty cookie. And we're going to go around the other ear. And touch back down. Now we're going to skip over the little balloon tie for right now. We're going to come back to it. So you can just skip right around it. And boom. Okay, so now we've outlined our cookie. So you can let this dry and then fill it in. You do not have to wait for it to dry. I don't normally wait because it's going to give it a one like pretty cookie. If you wait, you're going to be able to see your outline, which is fine, but it's going to dry and then the middle is going to be like a separate thing. So let's go ahead and fill it in. So if you need to, we've used a good bit of our icing, so you might want to twist it one more time around, and then the icing's going to start coming out, and that's okay. Now we're going to give it some more pressure. You don't want to give it too much pressure or your bag might pop. But we're going to go all the way around filling it in, not really worrying that much about the way it looks. And always adjusting our bag as we need. Okay, you might be able to see that this takes a bit more pressure than doing the outline because more icing is coming out of your bag. That's totally fine. You just don't want to pop your bag, which has happened to me before, for sure. Okay, now we filled it in, and then I'm just going to do like we did our little teardrops at the end to give it his little balloon knot at the bottom. Now you can take your toothpick or your scribe tool, and we're going to smooth our icing out using small circles. And we're pushing our icing out towards the edge. Why are we not focusing? I don't know why this isn't focusing. Hello. Ah, what the heck? Okay. Why are we being weird? Sorry. I gotta keep smoothing before my cookie starts to crust. Okay. So now we have it flooded. Why are we doing this, camera? Okay. Whatever. And then we're going to shake it out. Can bounce it against the table, and then it's going to smooth itself out. And then you can go through and pop any air bubbles that you see. There you go. Okay, so I don't know what was up with that, but unfortunately my camera decided it did not want to play nice. But that is okay, because we're going to repeat the same sort of practice again, and we're just going to add a design on top of the fill and flood. So we will be repeating the fill and flood for all cookies, basically. So you didn't miss anything. It's all good. Okay, so we are going to do a little polka dot hangout here. Okay, so we're going to open our red bag and our white bag. You want to go ahead and have both of these bags ready to go, because we're going to add some polka dots, and we want the base icing to still be wet when we add our polka dots, so that they will sink down and create just one flat layer. So we are going to start with red, or you can start with white. It's totally up to you. I'm going to do a red cookie. Excuse me. I'm going to do a red cookie with white polka dots, but if you prefer different color combos, it's up to you. It's your cookie. Okay, so I have my bag in my hand the way that I like it, and we are going to outline our cookie just like we did before, stopping here, stopping here. Every time you change directions, you're going to want to break the icing off like that. Okay, now we have our outline, and we're going to add our little tie right there. And then we're going to go ahead and fill, and you want to try and fill it fairly quickly, because this is a large area cookie and our icing is going to start to crust, and we don't want it to crust too much, because then our polka dots won't sink down. So very quickly filling, and as you can see, there's like, room where it's not filled. That's totally fine. We're gonna fix it with our scribe tool. We don't want to overfill the cookie, or it will start spilling over our outline. We're going to take our scribe tool and quickly make some little tiny circles all the way around, pushing our icing out to the outline. And if your icing is not smoothing out, you may need to add more. That's okay. I see that a lot with beginners. They don't add enough because they're scared it's going to overfill. And that's okay. You just keep adding until you get your desired result. Okay. So here we have our filled cookie. We're going to give it a shake. It's kind of hard to hold on to. Shake it out, get it nice and smooth. Tap it on the counter. Okay, then we're going to come in with our polka dots, and we're going to start on this ear because this is the ear that we started with, so it's going to crust fastest. So starting from the middle, and you just do exactly what we did before on our practice sheet. Make any, design you want with your polka dots. Have a pattern, don't have a pattern, that's up to you. Small dots, big dots, whatever you like. You do want to go in the order that you crusted your cookie in because it's going to dry in that order. Here we go. It's hard to keep the dots straight from where I'm sitting. Okay, that looks good right there. There, here. I think that looks good. Right, maybe here, one right here. Okay, so there you go. There's your little Minnie Mouse inspired balloon, and I think we'll come back and we'll add a little yellow flower because I think that would be super cute. So we want to let this crust, and you can tap your cookie like this to kind of help those dots sink down. So we're going to set this one aside and let the top of it crust over, and then we're going to come back and add a flower. Okay, next let's do some striping. Okay, so for this one, let's see here. Now, of course, if I'm using an icing color that you don't have in your kit, you can use any color in any design. I won't mix the kit colors up, but we will, work with all the colors in the different kits. Now, of course, if you have the large kit, it's going to come with all the colors anyway. So let's do some stripes. Let's do some stripes with the tropical-ish kit colors. So these three. Now you might also notice that I'm not using the sprinkles. I don't know. I don't really decorate with sprinkles much. I think they're great for kids, or if you're into sprinkles, that's cool. But for this video, I'm going to just teach you some icing bag skills. So let's go ahead and cut open our pink and blue since they are not open yet. Don't forget to flatten your bag down so you can get that nice clean cut. Okay, so for stripes, I'm going to go ahead and add a border for the whole cookie in one color. Now, so there's going to be an outline, and that's totally fine. If you don't want there to be an outline, you can individually add, I don't know, that's kind of advanced though. For now, let's just do a one color outline. So let's do pink. I like this bright pink. So I'm going to twist it just how I like it. I'm going to go ahead and add Touching down. Oh, I'm going the other way. Ooh, this is weird. It works though. Okay. And I will add my little tie here at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to give this a minute to crust since we are using sort of like multiple colors and we don't necessarily want the outline to blend with our design. So thinking ahead to our design, you can do stripes two ways. You can do them wet on wet, which means you lay the stripe down and while it's still wet, you lay the next stripe down. So it's like one flat design. The other way you can do it, it's called quilting, where you make the stripe and then you skip an area and you add another stripe all the way down. And then you let those stripes crust and then you come back in and fill them. And that's going to give you some like raised 3D effect. For this, I'm going to do it wet on wet because I like that look for the balloon to make it just like a flat striped balloon instead of like a textured balloon. But play around with it, you know. Do what you want to do. Okay, so we've given this enough time to crust. So I'm going to start with my pink first. And I'm going to make a stripe all the way across. And I am not going to stop in this area. It's going to go down on the paper towel, and that's totally fine. But to keep the stripes straight on the ears and then on the body, I'm just going to keep going, and I'm not going to stop between the ears. So I'm going to start here, hover all the way across, and down like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in my stripe here. And the other ear stripe. And as you can see, right now I'm just using my bag to smooth instead of using my scribe tool. And you can totally do that for smaller areas like this. It's fine. And then I'm going to go with my orange. So while that pink is still nice and wet, we are going to go straight across again and fill in. You want to lay the orange beside the pink, making sure that you're not kind of digging into it because it will mix the colors together if you're kind of too if you're not careful. Fill in any little holes on the border because you don't want them to crust like that. And then going in with my blue. Filling in very gently on the orange. This little tiny spot here. And here. Smooth anything down that you need to smooth down. Alright, and then we're going to repeat that until we are down at the bottom. And this is a bigger area, so I'm going to grab my scribe. And every time I pick up my bag, I like to wipe it off on a paper towel because I don't want any crusty pieces of icing to go into my cookie and make a lump. I'm going to keep everything nice and smooth. And if your icing breaks like that, it's fine. Just fix it. Ain't no big deal. This stuff is wet and it's easy to smooth out any whoopsie daisies that you have. And I'm just really carefully pushing my blue against my orange here because I don't want to accidentally mix the colors and like have brown, because I'm pretty sure that's what blue and blue and orange make when mixed together. So just want to be nice and gentle with it. I keep getting confused. I'm like hoping I'm doing the right color. I think I've done that right so far. Okay, and this last, I might push this up just a little bit so that my bottom blue stripe isn't like super thick. So you can kind of maneuver your icing in whatever direction. Okay, for our last little stripey, we've got our blue. Okay, so now we're done with that. We can go and clean the edges here really easily. Just scrape off what we don't want. And there we go. We can give it a shake. And it's nice and smooth. And then you can leave it like this, or you can drag your scribe. Now it's going to be a little difficult since it's a little bit crusty, but you can drag your scribe up and down. And I don't know, this is giving me like Pop Century vibes. I like it. There. Up. You can tell that the ears here at the top are crusting pretty good because it's kind of just breaking, but that's okay. Because now we just give it a little shaky again. And now we have like a little tie-dye-ish moment here. So that's pretty cute. You can fix the little bottom pieces there. So there you go. That's a really cute one. If you're staying at Pop, it matches the theme there. Okay, let's head back to our polka dot. You can carefully, I mean very carefully, just barely touch the top, and you will find that it is nice and crusted. So we will add a little flower on one of the ears. How about that? So we're going to cut open our yellow bag. And then what we will do is, let's see. Let's put it around here in this ear. So we are just, and you can practice on your paper towel, we're going to dot, pull, like this. And you can add as many petals as you want, but make sure that if you want them to be close together, you have to let them crust, because if you keep adding petals in between here, they're just gonna plop together. So let's do that. We will add 4 petals here. Now we're gonna let this crust, and we'll come back and we'll add 4 more petals in the little windows. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change my paper towel because it gets messy up in here. Okay. For our last design, we are going to do a tie-dye flower-ish type design. Okay. So we're going to use our red, yellow, and white for our colors. So first I'm going to take my red bag and clean off the tip. I'm going to go ahead and outline the whole cookie here. Okay, and I'm going to give him his tail, just like that. Okay, so let's start with an ear. So we're going to take our yellow, and we're going to make sure our yellow, red, and white bags are ready to go. And I'm going to have a second paper towel to keep the tip of them clean, because that's just a pet peeve of mine. Okay, so I've got my yellow bag. I'm going to start from the center here. I'm going to make a dot. Then I'm going to take my white, and I'm going to circle around that dot nice and thick. And then on the outside of that, so we have fried egg ear here for right now, and then we're going to fill the rest of the ear in with red, and we want to do this as quickly as we can to keep it from crusting. Okay, so we're going to fill in any gaps we have, any air bubbles we see, anything like that. Okay. Now very quickly, we're going to start from the middle of the dot, and we're going to pull out. Then we're going to move over a bit and push in. And then we're going to go back out, in, out, in, all the way around, just like that. And then we're going to quickly clean up any parts that need cleaned up. Just like that. And we have a little tie-dye ear. Little tie-dye flower ear. Now we're going to repeat that process on the other side. Whoop, that was the wrong color. I almost did it. And then the red. Going all the way to our border. Okay. We're going to take our scribe tool and out. Back in. Cleaning our scribe every time. And there we go. We're just going to use our scribe, clean up our edges. That looks good. And we're going to give that ear a shake. Okay. Now we're going to finish this out with the middle, and we're going to add a few more circles around here, so the stripes out aren't going to be so thick. Go around. We want to do this section as quickly as we can because it's such a big section. It's going to take us a second longer, and we don't want it to start crusting too much. Now we're going to add a really thin white line here because we want the red to be on the outside. Here we go. And the red to finish it up. It doesn't have to be perfect because, of course, we're going to be tie-dyeing it anyway. So we're going to go out, in, out, in, out, in, all the way around. And there you go. Now we're going to clean up our edges, of course. Anywhere that needs to be fixed. And then we're going to give it a shake. Clean that up. Okay. And there you go. Now we have our little tie-dye flower cookie. That one's fun. Okay, now we're going to come back to our mini cookie. Now, I finished this flower, but my camera was not on, so that's okay. We'll just add another one on the other side. So we're going to add our 4 petals. And we're going to give it a minute to crust before we come back and add our next 4. Okay, so we've given this a minute to crust. We're going to go back through and add our petals in between. And then we're going to go ahead and add our dot in the middle. And there you go. There's our flowers. Okay, I promised Beau the last cookie, so here we are. And give him a thumbs up, Beau. There we go. Okay, Beau. Here's your tools.
Okay. And a toothpick.
And a toothpick. Take it away.
Okay, so going to first start with.
You remember how to hold?
Yeah,
Let's
twist it.
twist it.
Twist it.
There you go. Okay.
And
Okay, guys, I hope you had a great time with me decorating cookies. I had a great time. Beau had a great time. We all had a great time. And I want you to tag me in your cookies so that I can see what you've come up with. Tag me at Happiest Things Travel or Happiest Things Travel Shop. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, and you can also find me on Facebook at Happiest Things Travel. And I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.